Hi, this is Deepak. How are you? So today is Sunday, and I just finished the Journey into Healing course here at the Chopra Center in Carlsbad, and I'm getting ready to go to the airport in a little while. And before I leave, I thought I'd answer the question that I see in the queue at info@chopra.com. Sorry, info@jayo.com. Once again, info, I-N-F-O, at jayo, J-I-Y-O.com. So please send me your questions, and they are put in a queue, and then I answer them in the order that I receive them. I do my best to answer them in the order that I receive them. So once again, the email is info@jayo.com, info@jayo.com. Today's question comes from Radhika Kochar, and she says, thank you for all your wisdom and help. Life as it is very difficult, but glad you're there for us, the lost souls. And then her question is, when in life you have become aware and are struggling to keep that awareness, a time comes when you know your parents badly messed up your life. The difficult part is when you know the truth and can't give up on them as they are in their last leg of their journey, continuing to mess our life. How to deal with that? How do you deal with them, as they are dependent on you in some way or the other? Thanks for your help, Radhika Kochar. So since you send these questions to me in sincerity, I need to be able to share my views also in sincerity, and also with total honesty. So let me answer Radhika's question, and I will send you a link to this question, Radhika, back in your email. Okay? The first thing you must realize is that your parents gave you life in the first place. Your parents helped you incarnate in the first place. So the life that you're experiencing has its origin in their awareness. If your father and mother had not looked at each other with a gleam in their eye and followed up on that with a physical act, you won't be here to answer that question. So if you are honest, you would acknowledge that your present existence is totally because your parents existed in the incarnation or form or experience they were having of life. So your first attitude should be, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to my parents for having given me this particular existence. As pure awareness, of course, we're all timeless, so the question of birth and death doesn't arise. The pure awareness was never born and therefore is not subject to death. But as your present body-mind, you have your parents to be grateful for the existence of your present body-mind. You should also know, and I think at some subtle level, we all know that everyone is doing the best they can from the level of awareness they're in at the moment. And that includes our poor, suffering, inflamed President Trump. So even he is doing the best he can from the state of awareness he's in. Okay. Moreover, of course, he represents the state of awareness of the collective consciousness. So, you can't blame him as a leader because he's our collective shadow. You have to realize that. Now, coming back to your parents, did recognize that they did what they did and continue to do what they do from their level of awareness, and your reaction to them, that they caused your suffering and that they messed up your life, is also coming from a certain level of awareness. Actually, if you moved even one notch up in awareness, you would say they gave me challenges and opportunities to grow and are continuing to give them challenges and are continuing to give me challenges and opportunities to grow. So instead of saying they messed up my life, maybe you say, thank you for giving me my next challenge on how to deal with my own shadows, and thank you for this opportunity. And actually, as you do that, there's a window opening to your higher consciousness, to your awareness, which has infinite creativity, if not overshadowed by your own ego. So I would suggest that first of all you reframe your question. They didn't mess up your life, they gave you life, number one. Number two, every time you think they're messing up your life, reframe that and say, thank you for giving me the opportunity to move to a higher level of consciousness. Now, that would be an amazing thing if you did that, because that would open the door to intuition and creativity and higher vision, and ultimately get you connected with your source. I don't know if you've ever read the books of Carlos Castaneda, where he talks about petty tyrants and the qualities of spiritual warriors. So maybe I'll deal with that as soon as I come back from this 15-second break, which is something that allows me to reach you and allows Facebook to give you and me this service. So see you in 15 seconds. So thank you. And by the way, I just want to thank you for supporting You Are the Universe, discovering your cosmic self and why it matters. And lots of your questions are coming from here, but I do thank you very much, and I'm very grateful to you right now. Okay, thanks. Okay, going back, when I took the short break, I said, learn to be a spiritual warrior and learn to also understand that anybody who irritates you is in fact not a petty tyrant, but your ally. I don't know how many of you read the books of Carlos Castaneda in the 80s and 90s and 70s. At one time, as a young student, I was very fond of those books, and he said, if you don't have a petty tyrant in your life, then you must go out and find one. You must go out in search of a petty tyrant, because your petty tyrant can be your best ally. So the teensy-weensy petty tyrants, which is the first category of petty tyrants, who are your spiritual allies too, is that they annoy you, minor things. They maybe don't put the cap on the toothpaste after they brush their teeth, or they don't clean up the dishes after they've eaten. So they annoy you. You should treat them with respect and compassion and empathy, and you don't need to do anything more. Then there are the medium-sized petty tyrants that actually are severe critics of yours, and the best way to deal with them is to ignore them. You know, if you ignore your harshest critics, and that's not easy to do, they can't stand it. And then there are the whopper petty tyrants that basically threaten you and threaten your survival either as a ego identity or as even physically. And these you have to handle with ruthlessness without cruelty. Ruthlessness without cruelty and without self-importance. Ruthlessness means you make a commitment to a cause greater than yourself, and you don't take it personally, and you shine the light instead of fighting the darkness. So what did Castaneda say? I think he said ruthlessness without cruelty. And then the second thing is cunning without harshness. Don't actually let them know everything you're up to. And so you won't give them an opportunity to attack you. Third is patience without negligence. And the fourth is cunning. No, I said cunning without harshness. Patience without negligence. And the fourth is sweetness without silliness. Sweetness without fawning, or sweetness without foolishness, which means you have to be polite, deferential, respectful, and treat yourself and them with dignity. Elsewhere, I have outlined the rules for conflict resolution. Deep inside, know that you undermine yourself every time you're rude, or every time you take things personally, and every time you counter-attack. So that partially comes from the teachings of Carlos Castaneda, but these are also teachings in the great Vedanta, that when you move yourself to a slightly more expanded state of awareness than before, then everything that you were upset by before doesn't upset you anymore. And this is the only way to respond. Also know that every experience, every encounter, every relationship, every situation, everything that happens to you is a mirror of your conditioned self. So Radhika, I hope this helps. It's time to move on to a new level. Stop blaming your parents. What you said is not the truth, it's just your perspective of the truth. So question your perspective, okay? And if the world is a reflection of who you are, which is the entire message, by the way, of this book, then just shift your awareness, and you will be all set. Hope that helps.